Highway of the Raj looks at the architectural and historical important buildings of British India and Singapore. Calcutta. The East India Company acquired the land in 1690 and financed the building of Calcutta. Now Fort William lies at its centre. It was Job Charnock who set up his headquarters in this area and his factory, and he called the locality Calcutta. And by 1890, Calcutta was the principal city of the Bengal Presidency and the largest city in the British Empire. Government House. The Viceroy's house. Lord Wesley, the brother of the Duke of Wellington, ordered the construction of Government House to be the residence of the British Governor-General, a position known as the Viceroy. Building work began in 1799 and lasted until 1803. The architecture of the building was inspired by the architecture of Kedleston Hall back in England in Derbyshire. Lord Curzon was presented with the title Viceroy from Lord Elgin, who was stepping down. This ceremony took place on top of the stairs in this photograph you can see. In December 1898, Lord George Nathaniel Curzon arrived in Bombay with his family, and then they travelled to Calcutta. He was given the title of Viceroy of India on the 6th of January 1899. The Curzon family took a cruise on the Hooghly River after the event. The four gateways of the residence are guarded with lions. These buildings contain a breakfast room, a marble hall and a throne room, and the ballroom situated above. The architect H.H. Locke of the Government School of Art designed the ceilings in 1865. The chandeliers were obtained from Claude Martin's mausoleum at Lucknow, and the cannons around the grounds are captured from skirmishes and battles in Afghanistan. The Belfast Town Hall in Northern Ireland provided the inspirational design for the Victoria Memorial Hall in Calcutta. The Victoria Memorial Hall was built to celebrate Queen Victoria and her empire. Lord Curzon was the governor at the time, and he was a strong motivator for its construction. A statue of Lord Curzon stands in front of one of the arches. Approaching the front entrance of the Queen Victoria Memorial, there's an elevated statue of Queen Victoria. This is by Sir George Frampton. The foundations were laid in 1902 and it was completed in 1920. It's a symmetric building consisting of four corner dome wings with a central majestic dome. The style is a mixture of Italian Renaissance and Saracenic. The chief architect was Sir William Emerson. I wish I had more time in Calcutta. I was only there for a few days and I should have actually took a tour around the building. This photograph is of myself standing in front of the building. Calcutta Town Hall. Built in 1813, a classic Tuscan Doric style, designed by Colonel John Garstin, who was the chief engineer for Bengal. This building was to be demolished in 1987, but received a reprieve. Metcalfe Hall. This is a Greek temple-style building with huge Corinthian pillars around its periphery. It was the home for the Agricultural and Horticultural Society and the Calcutta Public Library. Lord Curzon suggested that this building would house the Imperial Library. The construction of this building was started in 1840 and completed in 1844. The Writers' Building. The building was completed in 1780. Original parts of the building were designed by Thomas Lyon in 1777 in a classical style for the East India Company, as reports by Philip Davis in one of his books on India. After the mutiny of 1857, the building was given a facelift. The building is located on Tank Square or Dalhousie Square. Many government buildings fronted the square. The General Post Office. Designed by Walter Granville, this is the infamous site of the Black Hole of Calcutta. The building overlooks the water catchment area of Tank Square. Belvedere. Belvedere was the official home of the Lieutenant Governors of Bengal. It became Warren Hastings' India Office Library, built in Italian Renaissance style. It was in these gardens that the famous duel between Warren Hastings and Philip Francis took place, 17th of August 1780. Warren Hastings was the first Governor-General of the Presidency of Fort William, and therefore the first Governor-General of India. Many viceroys have resided here during their visits. In the year 2000, it was the National Library, and it looked after rare and valuable manuscripts of India. Hastings House. Known as Hastings House, it's located in the region of Alipur, on Judges Court Road. It became a home of the Governor-General of Bengal, 1773 to 1784, which is Warren Hastings. He preferred to stay here at weekends. Lord Curzon bought the house in 1901 and used it as a state guest house. There's a rumour, of course, in an old house like this, it is said to be haunted by Hastings himself. The Calcutta High Courts. These court buildings date back to the 1st of July 1862. The building was completed in 1872 and stands on Esplanade Row. Designed by Walter Granville, and it is believed to be the oldest court in India. Sir Barnes Peacock was the first Chief Justice of the High Court. It's an outstanding Gothic structure, inspired by George Gilbert Scott, and the design is very similar to the Rathaus building in Hamburg and the Cloth Hall in Ypres, Belgium. Temple Chambers. The architect of this building was Vincent Esch. He designed the Temple Chambers in an Edwardian style, and it reflects the prestige of the barristers' lodgings in London. The building was complete in 1914 and is located on the corner of the old Post Office Street and Esplanade Row West. I met a gentleman, Mr. Nathmal Himatsingha, and he had his office there for 75 years. He was still visiting his office and he was 98 years old. In 1989, the building continued to house legal chambers. The Grand Hotel. Vincent Esch was the architect of this splendid hotel. Esch was born in Blackheath in 1876. He arrived in India in 1898. The Great Eastern Hotel. This hotel was originally built by David Wilson and named as the Auckland Hotel in 1841. It was named in honour of the present Governor-General of India, the first Earl of Auckland. It was possibly the first hotel to have electricity installed. In 1915, the hotel's name was changed to the Great Eastern Hotel. Kipling described the hotel in a short story, City of the Dreadful Night. Queen Elizabeth II stayed here in this hotel. The Howrah Railway Station. Initial plans for this railway station were proposed on the 17th of June 1851. The building houses 15 railway tracks. It opened for business on the 1st of December 1905. It was owned by the East Indian Railway Company, which was founded in 1847. The railway companies were all privately owned. The first train used here was made in England and named, in Latin, Multum in Parvo, meaning much in little. One of the oldest trains in India was the Indian Imperial Mail train, which ran from Calcutta to Bombay. And the first train left the newly constructed Howrah railway station in August 1854 and went a full 24 miles to Hooghly. By 1929, 41,000 miles of railway track had been laid, and estimated 628 million people were travelling by rail every year. Maybe that doesn't include the ones who travelled on the roof of the trains. The Howrah Bridge. Up to about 1874, the only bridge across the river to Calcutta was a pontoon-style bridge. The Howrah Bridge was first conceived by Robert Shirley Smith and built by Sir Bradford Leslie in 1874. It's adjacent to the Howrah railway station, and the bridge is over 1,500 feet long. It remained the longest span bridge in the world up to 1975. The Tullygunge Club, known as Tully, was founded in 1895 by Sir William Quickshank. Tully is located about 6 miles south of Calcutta. The club started out as an indigo plantation in 1781 by the Johnsons, who built their home here. In 1895, they sold this to the Tullygunge Club Limited. I took this photograph in 1989. The Tullygunge Club was a popular meeting place for British bankers and businessmen. Its main theme, as an equestrian sports club, it covers over 100 acres of land. The club offers restaurant facilities, golf, tennis, squash courts, swimming pool and a cinema. The Victoria Club lies abandoned when I took this photograph in 1989. It is located not far from Temple Chambers. There was something about the door, the entrance, the name Victoria Club. I can imagine how busy it was once, not being far from Temple Chambers. I'm sure the Victoria Club has got many interesting stories to tell. St. Andrew's Church. The church stands on the adjacent side of Tank Square to the GPO. It was built by Messrs Byrne, Curry & Co. Philip Davis, in his book Splendours of the Raj, provides more details about St. Andrew's Church. The church was opened and consecrated in 1818. South Park Cemetery. The cemetery is located in Chowringhee. It was started in 1767 for the British who died in India. There is a tomb here of John Garstin, the architect of the town hall. Many British people came here to establish themselves in business. However, many did not survive too long. There are many architectural forms here of funerary. It includes pyramids and temples, pavilions and obelisk. Another temple-style tomb in the cemetery. The cemetery seems to be populated by a high number of people under 20 years old who succumbed to dysentery. I noticed this building had a similar architectural style to that of the GPO in Singapore. However, I do not know the name of this building. Ochterlony Column. This column was erected in 1828 by public subscription in honour of Sir David Ochterlony. He was born on the 12th of February 1757 in the United States of America, but under the British in India he became the president of Malwa and Rajputana and took part in the battles of Koil and Delhi. He was in command of the British India Army when they advanced into Kathmandu and successfully ended the war with the Gurkhas in 1816. This column stands 152 feet high. It has a mixed cultural design of Egyptian, Syrian and Turkish. I understand most of the statues that once surrounded the pillar have been relocated to the Victoria Memorial. St. John's Church. St. John's Church was designed by the architect Lieutenant James Agg. He was from Gloucester and he served in India in the Bengal Engineers. The church is located on the corner of Hastings Street and Council House Street. The foundation stone was placed by Governor Warren Hastings in 1774. The building was completed in 1787. I understand there's a painting in here of the Last Supper, and it was provided by the artist Zoffany, and it was placed above the altar. However, the painting contains certain unusual features, as the people in the painting all looked very similar to local well-known personalities. And Philip Davis, in his book Splendours of the Raj, gives many good details about this church. Highway of the Raj contains chapters on Bombay, Delhi, New Delhi, Madras, hill stations such as Pune, Simla, and Kodaikanal, and the Isle of Singapore.